Hi everyone. So this is the dot demonstration, and I'm just going to demonstrate a couple of the techniques that you saw in the earlier video. The first one I'm going to share with you is the use of a paper plate. Now this one is a small paper plate. You can use any size, and you can use any material. If you have markers, use markers, watercolor, oil pastel. And I know many of you already have crayons, so I'm going to use crayons for this demonstration. So there is no rule as to exactly how you have to start, but I began with a color, and I chose blue to be in the center of the dot I'm going to be creating. Now in the video I saw how the dot started and then bigger and bigger and bigger, and we've done that before. I'm going to start with that and just see where it takes me. So my next color is green, and I'm making something roundish, and just look, it's not perfect. Don't get all caught up in thinking things have to be perfect, because they don't. So I'm going to color this in. Now how you color in, if you take your time, I think you're going to be a little bit happier with it than if you race through it. So coloring, and I'm going to put that back, and I'm going to take another color, and I'm just doing what I like. I'm looking, oops, sorry about that. I'm looking at the box of crayons and thinking, oh, what is this? Maybe I'll try that. And now I'm going to just make a skinnier line around. And in the earlier video, when I was talking about International Dot Day, you probably heard me say that you're not making a picture of anything. You're just doing designs. So now I chose a darker crayon color, and I'm going to go on top of this lighter color, and now I might do something like that. Again, don't think you have to copy my design. This is just one of a billion ideas. You come up with something that you like. And now maybe this kind of reminded me of a flower. And you can see I'm growing it bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, I could spend time coloring in each petal like that, but I want to make that smaller. So I'm going to make a smaller petal on the inside of that and color that in. Now I would continue this whole thing. Let me lift it up for you. Kind of hard to see, the sunlight is glaring. But I would continue all the way around doing some other designs. But this is just an idea on how to get started. Okay, let's go on to, we're going to continue with the paper plate. And you probably remember seeing the Aboriginal art from Australia, where they use those dots. Now I only have one color here to share with you. This is just a small portion cup of paint and a Q-tip. But if I take that and I start in the middle, and then I just take it and carefully, you do have to be kind of careful with this one. You don't want to have a ton of paint on that Q-tip, okay? And if I had other colors here, of course, different colors would look a little bit better. But hopefully you get the idea of how to use paint and a Q-tip. Now the last idea, you might have remembered seeing where I suggested using a coffee filter, because that is round. Well, if you do that, this is one of the ideas that I did. I use, and if you're going to do this, you want to use your water base markers, because the end result, which I will show you on this one, is pretty awesome. It ends up being like tie-dye. Now I'm not going to demonstrate in my video how to go about coloring your coffee filter, because I think you can come up with some ideas. And again, yours doesn't have to look like mine. Mine is just an example to show you where you're going. But I did pay attention to the colors that I have next to each other. I know that all three of these colors, when they mix together, are going to mix beautifully. But look at where I put the blue. Blue next to orange, I know, is not going to make a lovely color. So I made sure I made this pink, thick circle around it before I added the blue. All right, underneath I have some blank copy paper because you want to do that, and I have a water bottle, just water in here. And I'm going to spray this. And it's nice and wet. And of course the magic is not going to happen immediately in the camera here, but you can start to see what happens. The marker color bleeds into the other colors, making this tie-dye effect. And I would leave this, of course, to dry. And then when that is dry, I'm going to move this outside of the screen so we don't see it anymore. But and we're going to pretend that this is a nice colorful coffee filter, I would take regular paper and glue this down to it, and that would be my dot masterpiece. So those were a couple examples. I hope you have an idea of how you might get started, and I can't wait to see what you do. Have fun!